In a world that often obsesses over rankings and titles, Brian May remains an artist who refuses to be boxed into such labels. His recent appearance on The Howard Stern Show revealed not just a man of immense talent, but one of humility and grace, a quality that has long defined the Queen guitarist. To be voted the greatest guitarist of all time, an accolade that would inflate the ego of many, May took with remarkable modesty, brushing it off as a subjective evaluation, one he didn't particularly agree with. His nonchalance in dismissing the title revealed more about his character than any single performance ever could.
What's my reaction to being named Guitar World's greatest guitarist of all time? I take everything like that with a pinch of salt, really, because you can't say who's best.
May's relationship with the guitar has always been one of emotional depth rather than technical supremacy. In this respect, he separates himself from a culture that celebrates sheer virtuosity above all else. His admission that he doesn't rank himself among the greats is not false modesty, but a reflection of his genuine reverence for the craft. He listens to players like Nuno Bettencourt, Steve Vai, and Jeff Beck with an admiration that borders on awe, and he speaks of their abilities in terms that suggest he sees them as residing on an altogether higher plane. It is not that he doesn't value his own contribution, it's simply that he views guitar playing as something far more profound than a competition of speed, dexterity, or technical fireworks.
People I listen to every day who do things that I could never do. I listen to Nuno Bettencourt, and I just smile because it's so beautiful and it's so way out of what I could ever do. It doesn't bother me because I don't feel in competition. I just love the guy and I love what he does. Same with Jeff Beck. So there are so many wonderful guitarists. Steve Vai is just colossal, beautiful.
May's references to his heroes, from Clapton to Hendrix, are unsurprising in one sense, yet telling in another. These are names that are synonymous with greatness, not just in the realm of rock, but in the pantheon of 20th century music as a whole. Yet, when May speaks of them, it is with the tone of a disciple rather than a peer, as though he still considers himself a student in the presence of masters. His words carry a palpable sense of wonder, of being privileged to witness something extraordinary in their music. Particularly moving is his continued veneration of Jeff Beck, whose playing he described as otherworldly, a talent so singular that it left even May, with all his experience and accomplishments, in disbelief.
And of course, I still have my old heroes. Eric Clapton is still my hero. Jimi Hendrix is still my hero. Of course, it's always going to be that way. Jeff Beck, to me, is something so exceptional and outside anything you could have imagined.
What is striking is how May reframes the discussion around guitar playing. For him, the technical aspects, though undoubtedly important, are secondary to the emotions the instrument conveys. This is where his mention of Kurt Cobain becomes especially illuminating. Cobain, by no means a virtuoso, left an indelible mark on music with his raw, unpolished playing style, a fact that May holds up as proof that guitar playing is not merely about proficiency. Instead, it is the feeling, the visceral connection to the instrument that transcends technical ability. May recognizes in Cobain what he perhaps sees in himself, an artist who uses the guitar as a medium for communication, not merely for performance. For May, his guitar is not simply an instrument, but an extension of his very being. He plays as he would sing, he says, not aiming for perfection, but for expression. This approach has been the bedrock of Queen's most iconic moments, from the soaring leads in Bohemian Rhapsody to the anthemic riffs of We Will Rock You. Each note, each bend of the string, feels personal, as though the guitar were merely amplifying May's inner voice. This is what sets him apart, not from his contemporaries, but from those who view music as a craft to be mastered rather than a language to be spoken. Yet May is no ascetic, isolated in his own world. He collaborated with the late Eddie Van Halen, a guitarist who, by all accounts, was his polar opposite in terms of style and technique. Where Van Halen dazzled with his finger-tapping virtuosity, May was more deliberate, more melodic. And yet, the two found common ground, producing music that bridged their differing philosophies. May recalls these moments not as triumphs of technical brilliance, but as personal experiences of profound musical beauty. His jaw-dropping admiration for Van Halen's effortless mastery was not tinged with jealousy or rivalry, but with a genuine appreciation for the unique voice that Van Halen brought to the world.
We worked together and it was the most wonderful experience. My jaw dropped every time he touched the strings, but it was just beautiful.
While Brian May often speaks with reverence about the legendary guitarists of his time, his admiration for Rory Gallagher reveals another side of his musical journey, one deeply rooted in personal discovery and a quest for sound. In recounting his experiences seeing Gallagher perform at the Marquee Club, May's enthusiasm shines through as he recalls those formative nights. Gallagher wasn't just another name on the bill for May, he was an inspiration, a figure whose raw, powerful performances left an indelible mark on the young guitarist. What strikes May's reflections on Gallagher is the sense of awe he felt, not just for Gallagher's performance, but for the sound he produced. It was a sound that May sought to understand and ultimately emulate. Gallagher, known for his earthy and blues-inflected style, played with an intensity that was as much about his soul as it was his technique. May, still early in his own musical development, was captivated by this and went to extraordinary lengths to learn from the Irishman. Sneaking into the Marquee after hours with his friends just to speak to Gallagher is testament to the lengths to which May was willing to go for his craft. But it wasn't just Gallagher's skill that impressed May, it was the man himself. Gallagher's kindness and willingness to share the secrets of his tone were what truly stood out. May remembers how Gallagher walked them through his rig, explaining the magic combination of the Vox AC30 amplifier, his beloved guitar, and the Rangemaster treble booster that gave his sound its signature bite. Gallagher's openness and generosity in revealing his setup didn't just provide technical insight for May, it gave him the tools to shape his own voice. The very next day, May found his way to Water Street and purchased 2 second-hand AC30s, setting in motion what would become his signature sound, a sound that, in May's words, still sings to this day. In many ways, Gallagher provided May not only with a technical foundation, but with a blueprint for authenticity. What Gallagher imparted to May wasn't just about gear, it was about the marriage of instrument and soul, the idea that a guitar could truly become an extension of one's self. This philosophy underpins much of May's own playing, where his guitar is less a tool and more a means of expression, an echo of Gallagher's influence. May's appreciation for Rory Gallagher, then, runs deeper than mere admiration. It's a nod to the crucial role Gallagher played in his own musical evolution, helping to shape the distinctive voice that millions around the world have come to know. Gallagher may have been the inspiration, but May made that sound his own, carrying forward the lessons of those magical Thursday nights at the Marquee and turning them into something entirely new. This, in the end, is Brian May's gift, not just to Queen's legion of fans, but to music itself.
We used to go and see Rory every week and just open-mouthed, I think, at the way the guy played and the person he was and the way he interacted with his audience, the way he could just hold people by tapping his foot or clicking his fingers or whatever he did. He was just a magician as far as we were concerned as an entertainer. And funnily enough, he probably wouldn't think of himself as an entertainer. He's such a pure man, Rory, He thought of himself as a musician, and he never made any compromises towards building himself into a superstar.
He embodies the idea that true artistry is not measured in the perfection of one's technique, but in the depth of one's feeling. His guitar speaks for him, and through it, he has spoken to generations of listeners, crafting melodies and harmonies that are as emotionally resonant as they are technically accomplished. The rankings and accolades may come and go, but May's contribution to music, both as a guitarist and as a human being, is immeasurable, precisely because it is so deeply personal. To hear him speak of his heroes, or to see him deflect praise, is to witness a man for whom music remains a source of endless fascination and joy. It is this passion, this unquenchable thirst for expression, that makes him, perhaps not the greatest guitarist of all time, but certainly one of its most enduring voices. For Brian May, it seems, the guitar is not a means to an end, but an end in itself, a way to communicate the ineffable, to make his inner world heard, and to connect with those who, like him, are moved not by perfection, but by feeling.